Hi everyone, it's Vicki with Crochet and More with Vicki Jo. I hope you're having a great day today. It's a beautiful day here in Arizona, nice and breezy outside and a little cool. A great day for a barbecue. I hope everyone's enjoying their Labor Day weekend with family and friends, and just have a great day and enjoy yourself. And if not, if you're just at home like I am today, then enjoy spending time with family or crocheting, whatever it is that you are planning on doing today. Enjoy. Um, Today my husband's making some barbecued ribs, so we're going to be enjoying that in a little bit. But I just wanted to come on here and do a stitch tutorial for you today. Now this one is called a cluster V-stitch. Some of you may have already seen this stitch, maybe you've already worked with it. I thought it was a very, very pretty stitch, so I thought I would just come and demonstrate to those that don't know or have not used this stitch before. Now I do have a couple of samples here that I made. See, isn't that really pretty? And then if you don't want to do solid, you can do a striped. So I did a sample here of 4 rows just to show you. You have your, I did a pink and then changed it to purple, white, and then I went back to pink. It's your choice. You can do as many stripes as you want. You can do solid, the solid one. Can't go wrong with it. Any one that you want to do, it's going to turn out really nice. I did see a baby blanket with this, and it was really pretty. So that's something you can consider making also. In fact, I might be trying to make one with that nice baby blanket with this stitch. So anyhow, this is multiple of 3. So I'm going to be chaining 24. And I just want to remind you, when you're doing your chain, you should, it's really up to you, but I always go with a hook one size larger. So I'm going to use a 6mm hook to do my chain. And then I'm going to use, to work the pattern, I'm going to use a 5 milliliter. So we're going to chain 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to skip 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 6th stitch you're going to do a double crochet. You're going to go grab your yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, and you're going to wrap your yarn again. You're going to go back into that same chain, and you're going to pull up your yarn, and then you're going to grab your yarn and go through 2 loops. You're going to have 3 left on your hook. Grab your yarn and go through all 3. Then you're going to chain 2, wrap your yarn, go back into the same hook, into the same chain, grab your yarn, pull it up, pull a loop up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops on your hook, wrap your hook, go back into that same space, grab your yarn, pull it up, pull a loop up, grab your yarn, and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. You're going to have 3 left. Grab your yarn and go through all 3. Okay, that's your first cluster V-stitch. So now you're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and that 3rd one you're going to do another, work another cluster V-stitch the same way. Okay, you have 3 loops on your hook. Grab your yarn, pull through the first 2. So you're not going to complete the double crochet. You're going to wrap your hook, go back into that same space, grab your yarn, pull it up. You're going to do another double crochet but not completed. Grab your yarn, pull it through the first 2 loops. You'll have 3 left. Grab your yarn, pull it through all 3. Okay, chain 2, and then you're going to work the same thing in the same space here. Grab your yarn, pull it up. Grab your yarn, pull it through the first 2 loops. Wrap your yarn, go back into that same stitch. Grab your yarn, pull it up. Grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops. You have 3 left. Grab your yarn, go through all 3. You just completed another cluster V-stitch. Okay, you're going to repeat that all the way across to the end. So you're going to skip 2 chains. Your 3rd chain, you're going to put a double crochet, but you're not going to complete it. You're just going to go through the first 2 loops. Then you're going to wrap your yarn again, go back into that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull it up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2. You have 3 loops left. Grab your yarn, go through all 3. You're going to chain 2. You're going to do another cluster in that same stitch. Okay. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to grab your yarn, pull it through the first 2. See, if you were going to do a double crochet, you would grab your yarn and pull it through the last 2, but you're not. You're doing just a half of that double crochet. So now you're going to wrap your yarn again. You're going to go back in that same chain, grab your yarn, pull it up, grab your yarn, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 3 left on your hook. Grab your yarn, pull through all 3. Okay, and you're going to repeat this. You're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2. You're going to go into that 3rd chain. Okay, you're going to do the same thing. I'll try and work it slow so you can see it. Let me redo that. Let me redo that whole thing. I think I messed up that whole thing. Let's try it again. Okay, so you're going to go into your chain, grab your yarn, pull it up. You're going to go through the first 2. Grab your yarn, go back into that same chain, pull up a loop, grab your yarn, go through the next 2. You have 3 loops left, go through all 3. Chain 2. Go back, you're going to wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain, grab your yarn, pull a loop up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops. Wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain, pull that loop up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2. You have 3 left. Grab your yarn, go through all 3. Skip 2, 1, 2. Then you have on that 3rd one, you're going to put another cluster. So you're going to go into that chain, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, wrap your yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, wrap your yarn, go back into that chain, grab your yarn, pull it up, pull the loop up, wrap your yarn, go through the first 2 loops. You have 3 left on your hook. Wrap your yarn, go through all 3. Chain 2. And you might want to go back and check to make sure you're putting 2 clusters into each chain. Okay, very easy to skip one and just go right into your next chain, and then you have to pull everything out and start again. Okay, so you're going to wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, wrap your yarn, pull it through the first 2 loops, wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain, grab the yarn, pull up the loop, wrap or grab the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, you have 3 left, wrap your yarn and go through the last 3. Skip 2, 1, 2, and go into that 3rd chain, wrap your yarn, go into the 3rd chain, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, wrap your yarn, go in the first 2 loops, wrap your yarn or yarn over, and go back into that chain, grab your yarn, pull it up, make a loop. Now yarn over, go into the first 2, you have 3 left, yarn over, and pull it through all 3. Chain 2, and you're going to repeat that. Okay, go through the first 2, wrap your yarn, go through the first 2, and then go through all 3. Okay, now at this point, wherever you're at, if you're making a larger project right now or you're just following along, you're going to have 3 chains left. If you don't have 3 chains left, then you messed up somewhere when you were making your chains. So you're going to need to go back and count them. Okay, so what you're going to do is skip these 2, skip, and then this very last one, you're just going to put a double crochet. Okay, that's a complete double crochet. Double crochet. Okay, and you've done your first row. And if you noticed, see how it's curling right there? The reason is I forgot to change my hook to a smaller size. Remember I told you at the beginning, you're going to chain it, you're going to make your chain with a larger hook. And then you're going to change it when you start making the actual stitches, you want to change it to the smaller hook, a 1 size down. Okay, I didn't do that. So this is why I'm telling you to do a larger hook to begin to do your chain, 1 size larger, because if you don't, you're going to get this. Now it could be that I crochet too tight. I'm not too sure why that happens, but that's a perfect example. If you don't change out your hooks, this is what you're going to get. I'm not going to frog it. I'm not going to go take it all out. I'm just going to pick it up from the beginning here, or from where I left off. That's a good lesson learned there. Okay, so now what you're going to do, actually also I wanted to tell you at this point, if you want to change your color, let me take this out and show you. If you want to change your color, you're going to leave 2 loops left on the hook. Okay, when you're doing your last double crochet, let me redo this last one. So you skip 2, you're in your last double crochet, so you're going to work a double crochet, and you're going to grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops, and that leaves 2 loops left on your hook. It's at that point let me grab this yarn here, see if I can find some of this yarn is so crazy, you can't find the end of it. Okay, so you want to change your color. You're just going to grab your new color and just pull it through these loops, okay? And then from there, you're going to grab your working yarn and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to turn your work, okay? And you're going to continue. You're going to wrap your yarn, and now we're going to work in these loops. See, these are chain 2 spaces, okay? And this is what you're going to do throughout the pattern. So the first row is a little bit more difficult. the second row, and all the the rows that you continue with are going to be easy. So you're just working in these loops. So you're going to make a cluster, same way we did it in the first row. You're going to wrap your yarn, go through 2, wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain 2 space, bring up a loop, go through 2, you have 3 left, 3 loops left, grab your yarn, go through all 3. And you're going to chain 2, and you're going to make another cluster. Same way. You have 3 loops left. You're going to grab your yarn, pull through all 3. Now you've made a cluster. And now you're going to skip right over there to this next chain 2 space. Grab your yarn, pull up a loop, grab your yarn, go through 2 loops. Wrap your yarn around the hook, go into your chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. You have 3 left, yarn over, pull through all 3. Chain 2. Pull some yarn out here. Okay, wrap your yarn, go back into that same chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into that chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. You have 3 loops left, yarn over and go through all 3. You just completed another cluster. Okay, so yarn over, go into that next chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into the chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 3 loops left on your hook, grab your yarn and pull through all 3. Chain 2, wrap your yarn around your hook, go back into that same chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into that chain 2 space, grab some yarn out, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next chain 2 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into the same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Chain 2, yarn over, go back into that chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go back into that same chain 2 space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over and go through your last 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the next chain 2 space, and you're going to repeat this all the way to the end of your row. Okay. You have one more, or I have one more. I'm going to yarn over, go into that chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, wrap your hook, go back into that same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, now you have a chain 3 space left here. You're going to put a double crochet in the top of that chain 3. So you have 1, 2, 3. Okay. and then you chain 3. 1, 2, 3, turn your work, and you're going to continue. Oops. See what I did right there? I put the 1, but I forgot to add the second one. So don't do like me. Pay close attention when you're doing this. Chain 2, and then go back into that same chain 2 space and work your next cluster. Okay? There. That's the right way. And then you're going to go and put a double crochet in the 3rd chain in the top of that chain 3, and you're going to just work a double crochet. Okay? And then you will chain 3. I keep going out of frame. Sorry about that. Turn your work, and that's all there is to it. Now, if you want your holes, see these spaces that are a little bit big? See how these are all? But maybe you want if you're making a blanket, maybe you want it to be a little bit more tight. This is how you would do that. So you're going to wrap your yarn, go into that first chain 2 space, just like we did in the last row. You're going to pull up your loop, go through and make your cluster, wrap your yarn, go back in the same space, pull up a loop, wrap your yarn. You have 3 left. Go through all 3. Now instead of chaining 2, we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to go back into that same chain 2 space, pull up a loop, wrap your yarn or yarn over, and go pull through the first 2, yarn over, go back into that same chain 2 space, bring up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through the last 3. And then you're going to do the same. You're going to repeat this. Go into that next chain 2 space. Okay. Have 3 loops left. Chain 1. Wrap your yarn, go back into that same space and make your cluster. And go into the next chain 2 space. If you're doing a smaller version, you would go in, it would be a chain 1 space. Okay, let's go back. Chain 1, go back into that same space. Finish your cluster. See how, I'll just finish this row for you so you can see the difference a little bit better. Okay, I'm coming to the end here. And I have the chain 3 space left. I'm going to work a double crochet top of that chain 3. Okay, and there you go. Do you see the difference? A little bit hard because the dark blue, but you can see it's like this one is like really good size. This one's a lot smaller, this one. See, so this is going to bring your pattern closer in for like a baby blanket. Sometimes when we're making baby blankets, we don't want these big gaps in them for the baby, you know, can stick their finger through it or their toe can get caught up in it or something. So when we're making baby blankets, we like to make them, or I do anyhow, I like to make them, if there's any type of looping in it, I like to make them smaller. So I think this would work perfect for that. But it depends on what you're making, and if you decide to try this stitch out, I hope you do. I hope you enjoyed this video today. This is all I have for you. I just hope that you enjoy. First of all, I want to thank all of you that have subscribed to my channel. Appreciate it very much. I now have reached 90 subscribers, which is really good. So thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you enjoy my videos, or you enjoy this video today, then I would ask you to please subscribe and share if you can, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. But anyways, you have a great day, and I will talk to you and see you in my next video. Bye for now.